The earth, the air, the land and the water are not an inheritance from our forefathers but on loan from our children. So we have to hand over to them at least as it has been handed to us. GROOTS Kenya, Sea-Watch, WWF, Kenya Forest Service, NCCK, Arid Land Network are among the many non-state actors working with ACT Change Transform, a national local non-governmental organization, and a program called Changieni Rasilimali to ensure better management of land as a critical natural resource in development and social cohesion.
The achievements in the land sector are quite much because we saw 4 laws passed by the Parliament of Kenya touching on the land, and we can say the success of achieving those laws being passed was mainly, or to quite some extent, through our support, because we worked with quite a number of civil society organizations.
Changieni Rasilimali is funded by the Government of Sweden and the Department of International Development of UK Aid, who through ACT have given grants to various organizations dealing in land resource issues to help them strengthen their organization capacity as they work with communities all over Kenya.
ACT built our capacity as an institution, first of all on advocacy, trying to make sure that the work we do is not only relevant to the communities, but it's also relevant to the government. And so we attended workshops to ensure that the work we do has enough visibility and that it is able to capture and optimize on provisions in the policy.
Land represents a potentially important resource which, if well managed, can improve income, employment and food sufficiency in our country. But that is only possible through a well-sustained and good land management practice. Land as a national natural resource provides the basis for economic development, food security and sustainable livelihoods.
Hapa ilimochogile faida nilipata kwa hiyo kikundi, nimekuja ikanisaidia nikawa shamba, sikuwa najua shamba inakawa, nilikuwa nimeacha tu ikae wasi. Sasa nimekuja nikakawanya, nikaona nipande Napier grass site ya chini ndio isaidie mambo ya mchanga. Tena vile nimepanda miti, naona miti pia inanisaidia kuzuia mchanga. Vile mbeleni nilikuwa na mashimo mingi yenye ilikuwa inachimbwa na mvua, lakini vile nimepanda miti naona shamba inaenda inakuwa mzuri na kuwa sawa.
The absence of good land management will result into land degradation and land will lose its worth. About 80% of Kenya is arid and semi-arid land, commonly referred to as ASAL. About 20% of the human and 50% of the livestock population is found here. On the other hand, a mere 20% of Kenya's total land is suitable for cultivation, among which only 12% is classified as high potential agricultural land, while 8% is considered medium potential land.
We are educating farmers to know how to plant their land. However small it is, they are able now to produce what is enough for consumption and even selling.
In addition to being a source of economic accumulation and a means through which to access a variety of resources, land also has symbolic, cultural and historical importance. Thus, pressure on land, particularly productive land, if not well checked, can be a cause of conflict, and hundreds of thousands have been displaced from their land due to that.
When we were doing civic education in 2010, they had no clue about the laws that govern land. We focused mostly on educating the leaders, that is the traditional leaders, the provincial administration and the group branch leadership, on the provisions of the constitution regarding gender. And we actually had one incident. One of the group branches was already discussing subdivision, and the membership had passed for subdivision, and women were not involved. So what they did is they actually went to the chief office very peacefully, protested that decision, and they actually managed to stop that subdivision. We didn't go with them, we didn't speak for them, but the fact that we had actually been training them, they know their rights, they know the process of demarcation, what it happens, who is involved. So when they had to lobby, they lobbied the right people.
Kama unataka kuuza hiyo share yako, ni lazima bibi yako ajue. Na hata ni mzuri tunasema wakati tunapitisha wakati ya general meeting. So labda mimi nikiwa kiongozi nisiende peke yangu ni sign na mtu achukue shamba ya mwingine. So tunaleta in a public baraza, inakuwa ni general meeting na tunasema fulani anabadilisha fulani. So community ikikubali unabadilishwa. Community wakikataa, whether umenunua au umepewa bure, inakuwa namna hivyo. Hauwezi enda nayo.
Poorly managed land use and land conflicts are the main threats to better land planning for greater productivity and has been the cause of disharmony among communities.
Public land has been subject to abuse, and by abuse I mean illegal and irregular allocation. Communities actually do not know that public land is their own land. It's the land that they use to construct schools, it's the land that they use to construct hospitals. And if you walk around Lari community right now, you realize that people are very clear what public land is, first of all, and secondly, how it should be used. Because one of the key objectives of this project was to ensure that grassroots women not only lead the process in terms of identifying it, but they also document it in a way that it is secure, it is interactive, and anyone can be able to access land. So out of that awareness, again, you realize that communities now are able to sort of put their leaders to task.
We were able to map all public land in Rari. There were so many roads which had been encroached and crossed, where some were to access school, others were to access river. But now people have surrendered them voluntarily, and we are able to participate in government participation, policies making, decision making.
We came out very strongly to support Growth Kenya because of one important thing, that is the process of land mapping was going to be of immense benefit to the local community. So this is an exercise which is very beneficial for the future planning of Rari, particularly for projects that require land, because right now we know where we have public land.
We want to change. For 4 years now, different institutions have been working round the clock with the national government and county governments to put in place policies that are meant to ensure sustainable land management. Land policy, for instance, recognizes that land is not just a commodity for trade, but a principal source of livelihood. If well used, it will increase agricultural productivity and income, especially for smallholder farmers.
Using advocacy as an approach is a sustainable way of implementing projects, or actually bringing about change in the land reform sector. We used to do a lot of service delivery projects, or other players had service delivery projects, but then after that, there's no, for example, legal framework to anchor those activities. There's no proper way of securing these resources. So we realized that through advocacy and building the capacity of our partners to be able to engage in those processes like lobbying, participating in development of policies and legislations, we are now sure that after a partner leaves a certain project area, things will be done in a systematic manner and there will be sustainability.
Sustainable land management includes the management of soil, water, vegetation, and animal resources.
The funding from Changieni Rasilimali played a key role. We were able to get funds to train farmers and even to help to make a follow-up to make sure that they implement what they have learned. Given that the majority population in this area have land holding between 1.5 acres to 3 acres. So we introduced double digging, in that in a small portion of land like an acre, you are able to plant banana, you are able to plant sweet potato, you are able to plant rice, you are able to plant vegetable.
Faida nimepata mingi kwa sababu sasa saa hii niko na chakula ambayo inaweza tumika kwa nyumba mpaka hata niuze ingine.
Since the launch of the program, a remarkable change has been realized in these pilot areas. Food security among communities living in these areas is improving. Alternative natural energies have been introduced and degraded lands have been rehabilitated. Lessons learned from Changieni Rasilimali have been at the core of increasing resilience on stressed land brought about by uncontrolled human activity and climate change. To this end, Changieni Rasilimali program will continue to collaborate with communities all over Kenya to escalate initiatives geared towards better land resource management and especially in soil and water conservation techniques, whereby lessons learned from these form policy applications.
Vile tumefunzwa, tumeanza kupanda miti. Na vile tumepanda tunaona mambo ya mchanga imeanza kupunguza ipepu sana na maji.